So they're actually like dipping things in his blood because now he's a martyr. So it's sacred and holy.
Welcome to McBurdo's expedition into the unknown and terrible. We have been stuck here in the ice for an eternity. Come into the captain's cabin and warm yourself before you head back out onto the decks.
Welcome to my cabin. How long have we been trapped in this infernal ice pack? Or in the summer, tropical estuary. Writers can embellish on a story that they've heard, but hearing the words of someone who actually witnessed an event, sometimes shocking, always amazing. I have not read this before, so we're going to experience it together. I'm going to break in with my opinions. Chances are, as you are a crew member of the HMS Measer, you are not easily upset by the dark and terrible. I will warn you now that these may not have the most politically acceptable ideas or language because they come from the past and things were different then.
Oops! I did it again, baby.
The aftermath of the murder of Thomas Becket, 29 and 30 December 1170. So this is from Benedict of Peterborough, another one of the knights. So not Grimm. We'll see if it's a little less florid, because Grimm was a bit like, wah!
I love a bit of drama.
Then the workmen of evil, driven no less by thirst for greed than intoxicated by the pouring of innocent blood, as quickly as possible ran back to the Archbishop's palace with their accomplishments. Accomplices. I can read English. Really, I can.
Right.
Some violently dragged horses out of the stables. Others struck his servants. Others turned over all the household goods, destroying chests and cabinets and dividing among themselves as they wished whatever they could find in gold and silver, clothes, or various ornaments. In this way, then, it pleased divine piety, which powerfully and wisely arranges all things, that the imitators of those who divided Christ's clothes would liken more fully the passion of the servants to the passion of the Lord. Oh, look what I found! A young Viking! In this way, by the manifest similarity of things, it would be recognized by all the faithful that the church would be delivered from the servitude of the world through the blood of the martyr, just as it was rescued from the power of the devil through the death of Christ. What do you think, Hrothgar? Are those stirring words? He's like, human, I don't really care. I don't really care. These men took all the church's deeds and privileges and handed them over to that son of perdition, Ranulf de Broc, to be passed to the king in Normandy. This was so that any which seemed contrary to the customs of his realm, and to protect either the liberty of the universal church or the privileges of the Church of Canterbury, could at his pleasure be torn to pieces or be shut up, never to be seen. So much for the knights. When the body had been raised from the ground, then an iron mallet and a hatchet left behind by the parricides were found beneath him, of which the Archbishop had taken possession when it fell on the ground, as if appropriated to himself. In this way he figuratively demonstrated that he was to be the hammer of the wicked, and that whoever did not turn to penitence could not escape the sentence of his vengeance. And while the blood in the likeness of a crown, perhaps in a sign of sanctity, lay around his head, his face, nevertheless, seemed entirely free from blood, except for a thin line which descended from his right temple to the left cheek, crossing the nose. It's so cinematic. Like, you can just see, like,
Wow.
Indeed, with this mark he later appeared in visions to many who knew nothing at all about this, who otherwise, not mentioning it, described it as if they had seen it with their own eyes. As he lay still on the pavement then, some daubed their eyes with blood. Others who had brought little vessels made away with as much as they could, while others eagerly dipped parts of their clothes they had cut off. So they're actually like dipping things in his blood because now he's a martyr, so it's sacred and holy. Later, no one seemed happy with themselves unless they had taken something away, however insignificant, from this precious treasure. It's gruesome. Like, it's really disgusting. I just can't imagine, like, oh, look, a dead person. I'm gonna dip parts of I'm gonna just grab my tie. I'm just gonna dip it in the blood. It'll be good. And indeed, with everything disturbed and confused, everyone was able to do as he wished. But part of the blood which they had left to the church was carefully collected in the most elegant vessel and replaced in the church to be preserved. His pallium and outer garment, as they were stained with blood, were given to paupers on behalf of his soul with indiscreet piety. Indiscreet piety? Your piety isn't discreet enough. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm so holy. Oh, I'm so holy. Oh. They would have been happy enough had they not ill-advisedly sold them immediately for a low price. You should have saved it, because that's going to be worth a bomb.
A virus. Human beings are a disease.
So that lamentable night was spent in sorrow, in groans and sighs, and not for the moment either conscious of joy or ignorant of sadness, as they awaited a greater evil the next day.
The suspense is terrible. I hope it'll last.
The next day, many armed men again gathered outside the city wall, and the rumor spread among the people that they had come together from everywhere with the intention of a greater atrocity, that they would seize the body from the bosom of the mother church and either pull it asunder through the city behind horses, or hang it on a gibbet, or tear it to pieces in bits and little particles and dispatch it in a swamp or some other viler place, which is not fitting to be named, more contemptible to God and the church, saying that the body of a traitor ought not to be interred with holy bishops. Oh, he's a traitor. We're not going to let you sanctify him. Too late. The monks then, as fearful for themselves as for the saint, afraid that his body would be taken away to a filthier place and that they would lose their precious treasure, took steps to bury him with great haste. Therefore, they neither washed his most holy body nor embalmed it according to the custom of the Holy Church of Canterbury. This came about less on account of human evil than divine piety. For what need has he for more common perfume, for whom the Lord has supplied unction of his own blood? When they were taking off his outer garments to put on his pontifical vestments, when they discovered that his body was covered in a hair shirt, it was not only painful on account of its harshness, and something we do not read about or hear from any other saint, it went from his drawers right down to his knees beneath a monastic habit. The monks looked at each other and were astonished at this view of hidden religion beyond what could have been believed, and with their sorrow thus multiplied, so were their tears. So what they're saying here is that he's wearing a hair shirt, which is a shirt made of horsehair that's really pokey and prickly, and he was wearing it beneath his archbishop's robes, which, because he wasn't a monk originally, he wasn't a holy man. Before the king went, yo, go be the Archbishop of Canterbury, they're really surprised that he's wearing such a sign of his religion, because there was this idea that if you suffered like Christ suffered, or suffered in the name of Christ's suffering, you were more holy, which you see a bit of in Dan Brown's Da Vinci Code with Opus Dei and scourging. So there we go, the follow-up before the miracles. Now, if you'd really like more of Thomas Becket, let me know. This is from The Lives of Thomas Becket, selected sources translated and annotated by Michael Staunton. This is actually part of a group of books from Manchester University Press, and they're brilliant. They're absolutely brilliant. I have a few of them. They're awesome. So I highly recommend them if you're interested. To be honest, the whole Lives of Thomas Becket is really, it has all the modern politics and intrigue. We're talking 900 years ago, but the more things change, the more they stay the same. And the backbiting and the politics, the technology is different. Human nature is the same. And on that cheerful note, I shall see you next time.